Okay. All right. So let's talk dating apps.
Okay.
I'm sure you've probably swiped through your fair share of profiles. But have you ever stopped to think about
Right.
whether these apps are actually designed to kind of keep us hooked?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty big accusation.
It is. It is. And especially
Right?
interesting since there's this lawsuit
Yeah.
against Match Group, the company behind, Tinder, Hinge,
Oh, yeah.
all those big names. This was filed on Valentine's Day.
Oof.
Talk about adding insult to injury, right?
That's rough. Yeah.
They're being accused of using addictive features just to keep people paying.
Yeah. Does that make you wonder a little bit? I mean, we all know how easy it is to just get caught up
Yeah.
in the whole swiping game.
Yeah, and that's what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
This whole debate around dating apps addiction
Right.
and whether they're actually helping us find love or
Yeah.
just keeping us on the hook.
Okay. So let's get started with the basics here.
Yeah.
What is actually happening in our brains when we're using these apps? I was reading about Helen Fisher,
Okay.
who's a biological anthropologist, and she was saying that, quote, the brain is ready to get addicted,
Wow.
particularly when it comes to love.
Yeah.
And she even called dating apps powerful because they, quote, sell life's greatest prize.
I mean, that's a great point, and I think it really gets to the heart of it.
Right.
Love is a powerful motivator.
Huge. Yeah.
And, these apps, they tap into that
Yeah.
primal desire for connection.
Yeah.
Biologically, when you get a like or a match, your brain releases dopamine, which triggers that feel-good reward pathway.
Okay. So that makes sense. I mean, it's like a little burst of happiness every time
Right.
someone swipes right on you.
Exactly.
No wonder we keep coming back for more.
Yeah.
But I guess, is that so different from
Yeah.
the excitement of meeting someone in real life?
Well, that's the question, right? The dopamine rush itself might be similar, but
Yeah.
the delivery system is completely different.
Oh.
Dating apps, you're getting these constant quick hits
Yeah.
of validation, and that can be really reinforcing.
Right.
It's almost like a slot machine.
Oh.
You never know when you're going to hit the jackpot of a match.
Yeah.
So you keep pulling that lever, or in this case, swiping.
I like that analogy. Okay.
Right.
So to make things even more complicated, these dating app companies
Right.
are so secretive about their algorithms,
Yeah.
how they actually decide
Exactly. It's a black box of love.
who to show you.
Right.
It's like this big mystery, right?
They claim it's all about compatibility.
Yeah.
But even relationship experts, haven't really fully cracked that code.
Yeah.
Like, what really makes two people click? Is it shared interests, personality, or just chemistry?
Plain old chemistry.
That's a mystery.
It's so true. So we're kind of trusting these secret formulas with our love lives, even though nobody really knows how they work.
Yeah. And, this is especially interesting when you think about the fact that the CDO of Hinge, Justin McLeod, he says they don't use an attractiveness score.
Interesting.
Instead, they say that they create a, quote, taste profile.
A taste profile.
Yeah.
Okay, that's intriguing and also a little creepy.
Right.
I mean, it's like they're trying to figure out...
Yeah, based on your digital footprint, who your type is.
Exactly.
But based on, your activity.
Wow.
It's a fascinating concept, but it really raises some questions like, how accurate are these algorithms? Are they really capturing the complexity of human attraction?
That's a really good point.
And, and what are the ethical implications of that? You know, just letting an algorithm potentially influence who we end up with.
And on top of that taste profile thing,
Right.
Hinge also uses something called the Gale-Shapley algorithm.
Oh, yeah. The Gale-Shapley. That's basically a mathematical formula designed to find optimal pairings. You can think of it like a super organized matchmaking party where everyone lists their preferences and then the computer sorts them out to find the best potential matches.
Okay, so very logical.
Very logical, very efficient.
Yeah.
But does that translate to real-world sparks?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay. I'll admit that algorithm stuff is a little over my head. But I think the big question is, are these apps really designed for us to find love and get off the app?
Like get off the app and go on dates.
Yeah, or are they trying to keep us swiping and paying for premium features?
I mean, that is the million-dollar question.
Right.
And Match Group, they would say, of course their goal is to get people off the apps and into relationships.
Right.
Because happy couples tell their friends.
Right.
Which brings in new users, right?
Right. That's their business model.
Yeah.
But it's easy to be cynical about it.
It is.
I mean, critics would say.
Yeah. the whole design of these apps, with the constant swiping and the little notification badges popping up, it's almost intentionally addictive.
It's designed to keep you hooked.
Yeah, and Catherine Caduto, who's a media studies professor, she put it pretty bluntly.
Yeah.
She said, quote, "These are people that are trying to make money.
Right.
And the way they make money is by having users stay on their applications."
Right.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
It is.
On one hand, we want to believe that these apps can help us find love.
Of course.
But on the other hand, it's hard to ignore that fact that their business model just depends on keeping us engaged.
Exactly.
Which isn't always the best.
Right. And that raises some important questions about where that line is between healthy use and potential addiction. You know, some behaviors we see with dating apps, like constantly checking for matches, feeling anxious when you don't get any. Those sound a lot like addictive behaviors.
I've seen that. I've totally seen that some of my friends get almost panicky.
Oh,
if they don't get a certain number of matches in a day.
Exactly.
It's like their self-worth is tied to these little digital validations.
Yeah, it's concerning for sure.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
There's no official diagnosis for social media addiction.
Okay.
So labeling dating app overuse as an addiction, that can be a little tricky.
Right.
And plus everyone uses these apps differently.
Of course.
With different motivations, different levels of engagement.
Right. It's like this gray area.
It is a gray area.
Where we can see potentially problematic behaviors.
Yeah.
But there's no
clear definition.
Yeah, clear definition or diagnosis.
Right.
So that makes it even more important to kind of be mindful of of our own habit.
Absolutely. And remember, certain people might be more susceptible to problematic dating app use. For example, somebody who already struggles with social anxiety or loneliness.
Right.
They might use these apps as a way to cope, even if it's not actually addressing the underlying issue.
Yeah, it's like using a Band-Aid to cover up a deeper wound.
It is.
You might feel temporary relief, but you're not really healing the problem.
Right. And that's where the bigger picture comes in.
Okay.
We have to think about the impact these apps are having on our society as a whole.
Right. So are they actually helping us?
Are they helping us build meaningful connections?
Yeah.
Or are they just perpetuating a culture of superficiality and instant gratification?
Okay. That is a really good question.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, it seems like these apps are making it easier to meet people.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I wonder if all this swiping and endless choice is actually making it harder to find genuine, lasting connections.
I mean, think about it. You have hundreds, maybe even thousands of potential matches. I know, it's crazy. Just a swipe away. Yeah. It's both exciting and overwhelming. Yeah, it really is. Are we constantly comparing? Yeah. Wondering if there's someone better out there.
That is such a good point.
Yeah, and it's almost like this paradox of choice. Yeah. The more options we have, the harder it is to choose and to commit.
It's like when you go to a restaurant.
Exactly.
And the menu is the size of a book.
Right.
And you end up feeling paralyzed by indecision.
And that indecision can lead to frustration.
Oh, for sure.
Even if you're having fun swiping.
Yeah.
Sociologist Michael Rosenfeld, he points out that even though about 15 million new relationships are formed each year in the U.S., many of which start on dating apps.
Wow.
People still struggle with finding that perfect match.
Right. So even though these apps are facilitating connections.
They are.
Are they also setting us up for kind of unrealistic expectations?
Yeah. I mean, if you're constantly bombarded with images of seemingly perfect people, it's easy to get caught up in the fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
And lose sight of what really matters.
And that's where things get really interesting.
They do.
How do we navigate this new world of digital dating?
Yeah.
Without losing ourselves in the process.
Yeah. How do we balance the convenience and the potential of these apps with the need for genuine connection and, a healthy dose of reality?
I'm officially hooked.
Right.
I need to hear more about how we can actually use these apps in a way that works for us.
That's what we're going to unpack in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, perfect.
Excited.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the potential downsides of dating apps.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, are there ways to use these apps in a more mindful and intentional way?
That's the key question. And I think the first step is, recognizing that these apps exist within a larger context.
Okay.
I mean, we live in a world that's
Yeah.
increasingly digital.
Right.
Everything is available on demand, and that definitely spills over into our dating lives.
It's so true. We're constantly bombarded with, notifications, instant messages, social media updates.
Right.
It's like we're wired for instant gratification these days.
Exactly. And that's where the design of these apps can be problematic.
Okay.
Think about those little red notification badges.
I know.
They're designed to trigger a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Like, you need to check the app right now.
Yeah.
And then there's the swiping itself. It's so quick and easy, it can become almost mindless.
Oh, I know what you mean. I've definitely fallen into that trap of just swiping for hours.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not really feeling it.
Right.
It's like my thumb has a mind of its own.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to set boundaries and be aware of how these apps are affecting you.
Okay.
If you find yourself feeling anxious or stressed when you're using them, that might be a sign to take a step back.
Okay, so it's like recognizing when that fun, flirty swiping turns into something that's not so healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good reminder, I think.
It is, and I think it's also important to remember that these companies are businesses.
Right.
Their goal is to make money, and they do that by keeping us engaged.
Yeah, of course.
But it's up to us as users to decide how much power we want to give them.
That's such a good point. It's like any other form of consumption.
It is.
We have to be conscious consumers and make choices that align with our values and our goals.
Yeah, and on that note, there are actually some dating apps out there that are trying to do things differently.
Oh, interesting.
They're promoting more mindful interactions. Some are focusing on slower, more thoughtful connections.
Okay.
You might have to read longer profiles or answer a few questions before you even see someone's picture.
Interesting. So instead of just judging someone based on a photo, you're actually putting in a little bit of effort to get to know them.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah, me too. And some apps are even experimenting with limiting the number of swipes per day or encouraging users to take breaks.
Oh, wow.
It's like they're trying to build in those speed bumps to prevent us from getting carried away.
That makes so much sense. It's like in real life, you wouldn't just run up to every single person you found attractive.
Exactly.
And ask them out.
No.
Yeah. You'd probably, take some time to observe.
Yeah.
Maybe strike up a conversation. See if there's a spark.
Exactly. And I think that's what these more mindful apps are trying to replicate, that sense of pacing and intentionality.
I like that.
It's about quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Really focusing on connecting with people who genuinely resonate with you.
Okay, so this idea of being selective.
Yeah.
How can people strike that balance between keeping an open mind and not getting overwhelmed by the sheer volume of options?
Right. I think it comes down to being clear about your intentions.
Okay.
What are you looking for in a partner? What are your non-negotiables?
Yeah.
And then use the app's filters and features to help narrow down your choices to people who align with your values and goals.
So instead of just passively swiping through everyone, you're actively curating your experience.
It's like being your own personal matchmaker.
I love that. Okay. And remember, you don't have to respond to every message or every match. It's okay to be discerning and focus on the connections that feel genuinely promising.
Right.
So it's about reclaiming your power as a user.
It is.
You're not just at the mercy of the algorithm.
No.
You have the power to choose who you connect with and how you engage with the app.
I think that's incredibly empowering. You're not just a passive consumer being manipulated by some faceless tech company. You're an active participant in your own dating journey.
I love that. So it's not about demonizing dating apps altogether.
No, it's not.
It's about being aware of the potential pitfalls and using them in a way that feels authentic and empowering.
That's a great way to put it. And I think it's also important to have honest conversations about our experiences with these apps.
Yeah.
Talking to friends about the ups and downs, the frustrations, the successes.
Yeah.
That can help us normalize the challenges and feel less alone.
It's so true, because sometimes it feels like everyone is just posting their highlight reel.
It does.
On social media, pretending that, dating apps are all fun and games.
All sunshine and roses.
But the reality is it's not always easy.
It's not. And I think by being more open about the realities of digital dating, we can create a more supportive and realistic environment.
Right.
We can share tips for using the apps in a healthy way. Offer encouragement when things get tough and celebrate each other's victories.
It's like a support group.
It is.
For the swiping generation.
For the swiping generation.
But seriously, I think that's such an important point.
Yeah.
By sharing our experiences, being more vulnerable with each other, we can create a sense of community and empower each other to navigate this new world of dating.
Exactly. And those conversations can even lead to positive change within the tech industry itself.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The more we speak up about our concerns and advocate for more ethical design, the more pressure we put on these companies to create apps that are genuinely designed to help us connect.
It's like voting with our voices and our swipes.
Exactly.
We can demand better from these companies and create a more mindful and intentional dating landscape.
Absolutely. And remember, sometimes the best thing you can do is take a break from the apps altogether. If you're feeling burnt out or discouraged, it's perfectly fine to step away for a while and focus on other areas of your life.
It's like hitting the reset button.
It is.
Sometimes a little distance can give you a fresh perspective and help you come back feeling more energized and motivated.
Exactly. And this brings us back to that Valentine's Day lawsuit against Match Group.
Right.
It's really brought some important issues to light and has a lot of people thinking critically about the ethics of persuasive technology.
It's like that lawsuit was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Reminding us to take a step back.
It was.
And examine our relationship with these apps.
Exactly. And to ask some tough questions about the responsibility these companies have to their users.
Right.
Where do we draw the line between creating engaging products and potentially exploiting human vulnerabilities?
Wow. That is a huge question. It's almost philosophical.
It is.
What is the role of technology in our lives?
Right.
And how do we use it in a way that enhances our well-being rather than detracting from it?
You hit the nail on the head, and while there are no easy answers, I think it's a conversation we need to be having as a society.
It's like we're all pioneers.
We are.
In this brave new world of digital dating.
I love that analogy.
Figuring out the rules of the game as we go along.
And as with any new frontier, there are bound to be challenges and unexpected consequences.
Right.
But I also think it's an exciting time full of possibilities for connection and new ways of experiencing love.
Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom.
It's not.
There's hope for finding love in the digital age.
Yeah, there is.
But it requires us to be informed, intentional, and maybe a little bit rebellious in our approach.
I like that rebellious in the sense of taking back control, setting our own boundaries, and demanding more from the companies that are shaping our digital experiences.
Exactly.
So to recap, dating apps can be a powerful tool for connection.
They can.
But they also come with their own set of challenges.
They do.
The design of these apps can be addictive, and the endless choice can lead to realistic expectations and a sense of overwhelm.
Yeah, but we're not powerless.
Right.
You can empower ourselves by being aware of these issues, having honest conversations, and making conscious choices about how we use these apps.
And remember, we have the power to demand better from these companies.
We do.
The more we speak up about our concerns, the more likely we are to create a dating landscape that truly supports healthy and fulfilling relationships.
That's a great point to end on. So as we wrap up part 2, think about this. What steps can you take to use these apps in a way that serves you best? What boundaries do you need to set? What conversations do you need to have?
Those are great questions to ponder. We'll dive into some practical tips.
We will for navigating the world of dating apps in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so we've covered a lot about the potential pitfalls of dating apps. But now let's get practical. What can you actually do to make your experience on these apps more positive and productive?
That's a great question. And I think it all starts with being really honest with yourself about your intentions. Why are you using these apps in the first place? Are you looking for a serious relationship, casual dating new friends, or just, a little ego boost?
Yeah, it's like setting out on a road trip. If you don't know where you're going, you're probably going to end up lost and frustrated. Dating apps the same way.
I love that analogy. And once you're clear on your destination, so to speak, you can start using the apps more strategically. Let's say you're looking for a long-term relationship. It might make sense to focus on apps that emphasize
in-depth profiles and meaningful conversations rather than just quick swipes based on photos.
Okay, so doing a little research on the different apps and their features is a good first step.
It is.
Don't be afraid to experiment and try out a few to see which one feels like the best fit for you.
Absolutely. And don't forget to actually use those filters.
Oh, yeah, the filters.
A lot of apps have really sophisticated filtering options these days.
Right.
You can narrow down your choices based on age, location, interests.
Wow.
Lifestyle preferences.
Okay.
Even astrological signs, if that's your thing.
That's right. You can save yourself a lot of time and energy by being selective right from the start.
Right from the start. No more wasting hours swiping through profiles that aren't even remotely compatible.
It's all about being an active participant.
It is.
In your dating journey.
Right.
Instead of just letting the algorithm dictate who you see.
You're taking control and curating your own experience.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's like being the CEO of your own love life.
You are.
Speaking of taking control,
I
think another crucial tip is being mindful of your usage. It's so easy to get sucked into spending hours on these apps.
Hours and hours.
Especially when those notifications are...
Have you ever felt that phantom phone vibration?
Oh my gosh, yes.
You think you got a notification?
Yeah.
But it's nothing.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like these apps are training us to crave that little dopamine hit.
Totally. And to be fair, that's not entirely our fault.
No, it's not.
Those notification badges.
Right.
Endless feeds are designed to keep us hooked.
They are.
That's why setting boundaries is so important.
It is. So you might try setting a timer on your phone to limit your swiping time or designating certain times of day as no phone zones.
I love that idea. Maybe make a rule that you can't check the apps.
Yeah.
While you're at work, having dinner with friends.
Right.
Or enjoying some quality me time.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between staying connected and protecting your own well-being.
Yeah.
You can even try deleting the apps from your phone altogether for a week or two and see how it feels.
You know, sometimes a digital detox can be the best thing for your mental health.
It can.
It gives you space to reconnect with yourself and your priorities.
Yeah, who knows? You might even meet someone in the real world while you're out there living your best life.
I love that. And remember, even if you are using the apps regularly, don't forget about the power of real-life interactions.
Real-life interactions.
Dating apps can be a great starting point.
They can be.
But they shouldn't replace face-to-face connections.
Face-to-face.
Totally make an effort to get out there. Meet people organically, strike up conversations with strangers.
You never know where you might find a spark.
Exactly. And remember, sometimes the best connections happen when you least expect them.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we've talked about intentions, boundaries, real-life connections.
We have.
Any other pearls of wisdom to share?
Let's see. I think the most important thing is to be kind to yourself. Dating can be tough.
It can be.
No matter how you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel frustrated, discouraged, or even a little jaded at times.
That is so true. It's a roller coaster ride with highs and lows, twists and turns.
It is, and sometimes you just got to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Remind yourself that you're worthy of love and keep putting yourself out there.
Beautifully said. And remember, you're not alone in this journey.
You're not. There are millions of people out there navigating the world of dating, both online and off.
So what's the final takeaway?
The final takeaway
for our listeners.
Dating apps can be a powerful tool for connection, but they also come with their own set of challenges.
Right.
The key is to use them mindfully, intentionally, and with a healthy dose of self-awareness.
And remember, you have the power to shape your own love story.
You do.
Don't let the algorithms define you.
Right.
Or dictate your happiness.
That's right. Go out there, be your authentic self, and connect with the world in a way that feels good for you.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
It was my pleasure.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of dating apps.
Yeah.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel empowered to navigate the digital dating landscape with confidence and clarity.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
Yes.
Happy dating.